Hey guys, this is Desiree with Monsterpiece Kennel. I have a 12-week-old tawny male puppy from Smurfette and Rhino. His name is Monsterpiece Honcho. We decided to keep him back from the program because he is the two lines that just meshed perfectly together. As you see, nice structure, nice head on him, just like Smurfette, and not as much hang time as Rhino. So he will be our our other stud other than Rhino. All right, guys, tune in. Hello, guys. This is Desiree with Monsterpiece Kennel, Part 2, Breeding and Ethics. Recently, I had another breeder give out my personal information. And with that being said, that's going to lead into number 1. Don't give out personal information about clients or other breeders. And with that being said, that's just where you cross the line. Because I have my family, I have my children, I have my animals on this property, and I just had a baby 3 weeks ago. So, I'm trying to enjoy having a baby, relaxing, not stressing out, and just enjoying the newbornness of my child. And then all this insanity is just running amok, and it's all due to somebody having a grudge. You got to keep things ethical. Got to keep things professional and classy. So, I'm not going to feed into all of that, but you just don't give out people's information, because if you do, that could lead harm to others. Or somebody can come to your property, break in, somebody get injured, and then, the person that brought it on isn't even going to care, So, you just got to keep it professional and ethical. All right, reason 2. That's another reason why people do not come to my home, because there's too many crazy people out there into this world. This is my home. This is my confine where I can feel safe with my family. And when people have your address, they can just stop by at any random time. And you don't know what people are capable of. You don't know if people are going to steal from you. I've heard stories of people robbing people, getting shot over litters of Frenchies. And, when I take a deposit on a dog, I hold the dog until it's completely healthy to go home. So I don't want individual dogs being compromised from getting stolen. So now I have to take the proper methods. We live in a small community, so that we have a neighborhood watch program. So people watch other people's property. If they see something's going on, they'll call us, or if they don't, get a call from us, they'll, call the authorities. So we just got to take the proper methods to make sure that our home and our property is now safe due to this individual. All right. Again, we have nothing to hide. As you see, I show the dogs, I show where they live, I show them growing up, I show me feeding them. I even show the let-outs where they play, where they exercise. So we have nothing to hide. It's just personal safety. I don't want people coming to my home that I don't know. I don't want random individuals coming to my home that I don't know. And I don't want thieves to come to my home to try to steal dogs, steal from us, or possibly hurt us. All right, so lead into number 4. Again, some dogs are on tie-outs for videos to show movement of dogs. So when you have a dog in a let-out, they can't physically get into their stride or gait. That's why we have big open fields where we show them play and run, and I do have videos on my YouTube of that as well, of them running and playing. But certain dogs just don't pose. Dogs are like children, they don't pose. So the only way to get a good picture is to physically put them on a tie-out, have them run around, watch their movement, and then you go and edit, and then you get the right pose from the dog. Because to get a dog to physically pose is not going to happen. And also wanted to lead into, there was a dog that went viral in it didn't go viral in my video, but went viral in somebody else's video that took it from my page. It was Monsterpiece Peppa. She was not used in the program, and she never had offspring, and she was never used. We x-rayed her with the vet and found that her hips were not good. That happens. Sometimes you get throwbacks. You just never know with the dog. And we weren't going to breed into a dog with bad hips. Yes, she was beautiful. She was awesome. But that's when ethics come in, and it's better not to breed into a dog with bad hips, because you're going to make more dogs with bad hips. Yes, she was a beautiful dog, but I had her sister, which was Cookie, and I had her brother, which was Cowboy. So I think at that time, yeah, I had Strawberry also, which is their full sibling as well. So I had 3 dogs from that same breeding. I didn't need, no, Strawberry, crap, I'm sorry. Strawberry wasn't from that breeding. Strawberry was her aunt. But I had Cookie and Cowboy was the full siblings to Peppa, sorry. So I didn't need to keep that dog because I still had the blood, and she had bad hips. So when you breed a dog with bad hips, it's going to give it to its offspring. All right, another thing. We live rural. That's why we have to contain our dogs, because where we live is law of the land. So if you are on somebody's property or your dog's on somebody's property, technically they have the right to shoot you. So I have to contain my dogs on my property. I have a lot of acres, and not all of it's fenced in. It's impossible for me to totally fence in my property. That's why I have 4 fields fenced off totally for the dogs to play and run. But you have to secure your dogs. So if my dog were to get out and go on a neighbor's property, they would get shot. No discussion, nothing I can do, can't do nothing about it. The dog's dead. So I want to make sure my dogs are healthy and secure. And another thing, when I was on securing your dogs, you have to make sure to eliminate accidental breedings. So when you have lots of dogs running around, maybe a male might get out and breed a female you didn't want him to breed, or you're not watching your dogs properly. When you have multiple females, multiple males, and they congregate together, accidents can happen and will happen. So you need to be able to watch your dogs and know what they're doing, when they're doing, what they're doing, and how they're doing it, because some dogs have silent heats. They don't bleed. So you can have 2 males breed that female and you don't even know who the father is. Or, you know, you could breed a dog and you get documentation, you bred the dog, take pictures of them tied, and then a dog gets out somewhere, some kind of way, and breeds that female again. Then you have 2 sires that's actually impregnating a dog. Okay, and on the other video, I wanted to brush up. So on the beginning dogs, as I said, they were all DM clear. What DM is, it's degenerative myelopathy. And what degenerative myelopathy is, it's where the spine actually starts to deteriorate in the dog anywhere between 2 and 3 years old. And then eventually the dog will become paralyzed. So with that being said, I mean, I don't know what people looked it up or anything, but that's what degenerative myelopathy is. And it does come with Mastiffs. So all the dogs that I used, only the dogs that I used were DM clear. Not to say the dogs that I sold people from the beginning lines, because there was one dog in there that was a carrier. I never had any offspring from her, and she was sold to another breeder. Like I said, all the dogs I used only, not other people's dogs. So I wanted to keep it 100. All the dogs were DM clear. And if you start from clean from the beginning, all the dogs from that are DM clear by parentage. All right. So number 8, Mastiff hips. Okay. So if you ask any vet, it's like finding a needle in a haystack to get Mastiffs with excellent hips. Total needle in a haystack. In order to get Mastiff with good hips, you're doing something right. So, you know, with Mastiffs, as they get older, whether how much they jump, how much, you know, exercise they have, any type of exercise, any injuries the dog has, that affects the hips. Growth spurts affect the hips. So that's why it's good to prelim your dog. So you can prelim your dog, your preliminary hip scans of your dog anywhere 6 months on. So if you keep a Mastiff for 2 years and then you OFA your dogs, then you're going to find out, oh, they had bad hips, which you could have prelimed your dog at 6 months and you would have known that ahead of time. You wouldn't have wasted the 2 years. You know, so with inbreeding, a veterinarian can actually prelim your dog and tell you whether your dog's hips are going in a good direction or a bad direction. If they're going to be good or bad. As simple as that. So you don't want to keep unnecessary dogs that are going to go bad. So if they tell you your hips ain't good, this hip socket's shallow, the hips aren't asymmetrical, you want to get them out of your program. So it's better safe than sorry on that. All right, number 9, want to reiterate this. There's no perfect dog, period. So when I say DM clear, so like let's say you have a dog that is a DM carrier. You don't breed to another dog that is a DM carrier, because if you have 2 DM carriers, you know what that means? The puppies can be affected, and some of the puppies can be carriers. But when you have a DM clear dog and a DM carrier dog, it's like a split litter. Some are going to be carriers, some are going to be clear. And there's no way of knowing how that's going to be unless you genetically test all the dogs. So that's why it's good to get it out of the program before it starts. No matter how beautiful the dog is, no matter how much you love a dog, no matter how much you spent on the dog, it's not ethical to breed into the dog just because you spent money, because you don't know how many times we've imported dogs or got dogs from other breeders that their hips were bad, aka German Shepherds or other dogs, period, from other breeders when we bred Shepherds. And you can't breed into a bad hip dog because that's just going to give you more bad hips. You know, every now and then, yeah, you can throw out a bad dog because, you know, we're not God. We're at the hands of God, and there's genetics, and sometimes a great grandparent can snatch genetics from that, and there's nothing you can do about that. But, you know, again, with being ethical, you replace the dog, you know, along with, you know, make sure you have your veterinarian's, you know, documentation that the dog's hips or elbows are bad, and make sure that it wasn't necessarily an injury, then replace the dog. You know, because it's no skin off your back to replace the dog. You can have another dog. You know, I don't mind doing that as long as the female or male dog is spayed or neutered. They're allowed to keep their dog. I just make sure that they cannot breed that dog that is, you know, defective, as they say, or bad hips or elbows. I don't know other way to put it. But you don't want that getting into your lines, because people will lie and then breed the dog anyways and then get a replacement. That doesn't work. So they must give me their registration papers back and must show me proof of spay or neuter before they get a replacement. All right. Sorry, guys. I went a little bit over the time, but we're going to get back on topic with the other videos. But I just wanted to touch base on number 1 more than anything. But on the next video, part 3, we're going to get on bloodlines and paperwork and like what is a verified and not verified dogs. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it.